if you're no longer excited, do you want to have a successful company? Do you want to spend the next 5 or 10 years in a like a maybe a low key sense of anxiety at the best case, and kind of pushing yourself every day to make this thing, if it means you'll be the next Slack or you'll be the next Stripe? And in terms of offering conscious business advice, we don't believe the universe or you personally or your team will be served by pushing through some of those barriers on a day-to-day basis to try to find that level of success. And typically that North Star, there's unicorn scenarios across all things. There's people whose dedication to their their labor of love is to just push through their discomfort and do it. But that's not something that we would normally recommend to somebody at a planning phase, because as a strategy, it can be very self-damaging, and it can be very, it's not going to lead to a great outcome most of the time.
And 2/3 of startups fail, right? So we're looking at a Slack, a Stripe, somebody, an entity that became successful. I can tell you the most demoralized that I've seen people is when they fail not even doing what they wanted to do. They failed chasing what they thought the market was telling them to do, or something like that. Whereas I've seen people fail, and I'll use that word, in maybe the common sense, where they actually solved the problem they set out to solve, and they created something they liked, something they would have wanted. And that's much easier to bounce back from than it is when you get really confused and you feel like the whole startup game is just misery. So I think that connection to what Sam is saying about that original energy, it's absolutely critical on multiple dimensions. And using that rare case of success, and not looking at the 2/3 or majority of them that aren't, is probably not the best way to put it in context.